Hi, I'm Adam Thompson with Wall Street Journal Online. I'm here with my colleague Stefan Fatsis. He has a new book out, A Few Seconds of Panic, which details the summer he spent in training camp as what he calls a 5'8", 170-pound, 43-year-old sports writer kicking with the NFL's Denver Broncos. Stefan, welcome.
Hey, Adam.
Stefan, the obvious comparisons to George Plimpton are going to surface as you talk about this book. Tell me how you were inspired by him writing the Inside the Locker Room book and how you hope to be different.
Well, Plimpton did this in 1963, and as far as inspiration, I think anybody who grew up in the 70s and 80s admired him for what he did. He created a genre of sports participatory journalism. But I wanted to be different. I wanted to find out whether I could become a pro athlete. In 1963, the NFL was new. Little was known about life inside the locker room. Today, we know a lot. My goals were sort of twofold. One, see if I could bridge the gap a little bit with these guys, with these great athletes, and also really get beneath the surface of our 24/7 media obsession with sports and find out what the athletes really thought and cared about and felt intellectually and emotionally.
What surprised you most about that?
Well, the level of introspection, really. I mean, we tend to think of football players as not terribly smart. They bang into each other. It's an incredibly complicated sport. You cannot be a dummy and make it at any position in the NFL. But beyond that, I was really fascinated by the degree of ambivalence that a lot of players have about playing pro football, the demands that are placed on them, whether it's worth the risk of injury, and whether the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, the financial rewards that come really only to a few players, ultimately is worth it.
What would you say was your most embarrassing moment in the whole process? Everybody knows that kickers are sort of low men on the totem poles already before you take the sports writer factor into the equation.
Yeah, where to begin? Most embarrassing moment. Let's see. Probably the first time I was summoned to kick in front of the team. This was about a week into training camp. Mike Shanahan, the head coach, called me out and said, you know, a lot of pressure is put on kickers in the NFL. We're going to put some pressure on our kicker right now. I did not perform terribly well in my debut as an NFL kicker with everybody looking on. 90 players, a dozen coaches, big staff, 1,000 fans watching at Broncos training camp. It was really one of the most pressure-filled moments of my life and one of the most deeply humiliating, too.
Of all the people you met, who would you say stuck with you the most?
Wow. That is an extremely difficult question. You know, mostly I would give you names that you've never heard of because they were so thoughtful about the way the game is played. I write about guys named Adam Meadows, an offensive lineman, who gave back a $2.5 million bonus when he felt he couldn't perform anymore when he was with the Colts and then moved to the Carolina Panthers. You don't see that in pro sports. Gave back $2.5 million. There was a fullback named Kyle Johnson on the Broncos, one of the most conflicted guys I've ever seen in terms of whether it was right to play football. A backup quarterback named Bradley Van Pelt struggled day in and day out with the emotional pressure of being part of an NFL team and trying to make it as a quarterback in this league.
So now that you've been through it all, which NFL kicker would you say you most resemble, even if distantly?
I think physically is probably the best comparison I can make. I resemble any 5'8", 170-pound kicker who still can make it in the league. There were a couple when I was in Broncos training camp 2 summers ago. One was Martin Gramatica, who was still in the league last year. Another was a guy named Paul Edinger. And these are the tiny guys that sort of are the embodiment of what a kicker used to stand for. Kickers today, though, can be as big as, 6'2", 250, like Sebastian Janikowski in Oakland. I'm just glad that I sort of stood up for the little guys and made it there. And I've got the jersey to prove it, Adam.
Let's see it.
You want to see it? Yeah. You know, this will be hanging on my wall for the rest of my life. I played in the NFL.
Well, the book is A Few Seconds of Panic. Stefan, thank you very much.
Thanks, Adam.
All right, I've been speaking with Stefan Fatsis, one of the few sports writers anywhere with his own NFL jersey. I'm Adam Thompson with Wall Street Journal Online in New York.